Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mimosa Fridays podcast, a show where we share powerful life lessons and a few laughs as Gail empowers others as she sits at the intersection of people, purpose, and politics while sipping on mimosas. Now grab some orange juice and champagne and welcome your host, Gail Dudley.
Pastor Jamal Harrison Bryant. Dr. Bryant embodies the rare balance of spiritual gifts and practical educational experiences that connects pastoral leadership, discipleship teaching with prophetic preaching and encourages social action. Dr. Bryant is equipped and poised to initiate theological revivals, decisive commitment, and rededication to the teachings of Jesus Christ as the foundation for personal living, family stability, and community development. Dr. Bryant is not only known as a he's a powerhouse speaker. Y'all watched him. If y'all haven't, you've been lost a part of your life, but has earned a reputation as a social justice activist. And that is what has drawn me to him over the years. Prior to pastoring, he served as the National Youth and College Director of the NAACP for 6 years, leading about 70,000 young people worldwide to nonviolent campaigns. Dr. Bryant earned his bachelor's degree from Morehouse College and his master's of divinity from Duke University. Now, y'all know me and the Queen. He studied at Oxford University in Great Britain. I said, he's been with the Queen. I need to know about the Queen. And earned a doctorate from the Graduate Theological Foundation. Y'all, I don't want to prolong this anymore. This man is amazing. During the pandemic, his church was helping people pay bills, giving them food, housing, clothing, whatever. So let me bring him onto the screen. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm wonderfully well. Thank you for allowing me to be a part.
Absolutely. We're going to jump in if that's okay.
Oh, yeah. I work for you.
I know it's early morning. You don't work for me now. We in this together. So let me just jump in here with my question. The African-American faith tradition is rich with people who have given their lives for the sake of humanity and justice. What is your sense of today's generation of leaders for our community? What's your sense here?
Yeah, my sense is that you have a great deal of pastors who are involved, who are engaged, but who are not exposed. In every community, there are pastors who are sounding the alarm, but don't have any press clips. That doesn't mean that they are not rolling up their sleeves. And so I am excited to see a grassroots revolution take place of preachers and believers who have put their hand to the plow and are turning back.
Wow. So where can we start as a people? I have 2 millennial children. My daughter, I don't know if you heard me say, she now lives in Atlanta. She was born there. She has since returned after graduating from Howard University. And she was saying just in conversation that the millennials, they're just tired. Even in church, they're just tired. And they're kind of like throwing up their hands. Like, we finally gave in and we voted for President Joe Biden, but we don't see anything happening. Here we are with voting rights, and this is one thing he said in his acceptance speech, but we're not seeing any action. What do we say to these young people to make sure they're turning out in 2022?
Well, the blood is dripping on our hands. Kwesi Mfume, Congressman Mfume, former president of NAACP, said we gave our children all of the fruit of the civil rights movement, but gave them none of the sacrifice. And so now they are realizing that it is not a post-racial society just because Barack and Michelle lived in the White House, that there is a surge of white supremacists and white nationalists and January 6th insurrectionists who are trying to pull us to make an electric slide backwards. And so now we're saying that it is not a short run, but it is a marathon, that we've got to keep moving, that we've got to keep fighting, that we've got to keep pushing forward. And so it's so critical for them to understand that one round you might have got punched in the eye, but that doesn't mean you get out of the ring. We got to keep swinging because in case Somebody lost track. Midterms are coming. With midterms, it's going to be a major power grab and shift, and we've got to be poised in position to make sure that everything stays online. Frederick Douglass said, "Power concedes nothing without a demand." We've got a demand for what it is that the previous generation marched for.
I love that. One of our viewers, Latrice Jones in Columbus, Ohio, says, "What exposure do the leaders need, and how do they get that?"
Yeah, I think that my grandfather's generation wouldn't go on radio because they thought it was of the devil. My father's generation was shy about going on television because they thought it was all prosperity. This generation was ambivalent about social media, and then the pandemic came, and you had no choice. We have an amazing product, which is the gospel. We are just poor salespeople. And so we've got to be able, in the words of Wynton Marsalis, to blow our own horn. We've got to be able to tell what it is that we're doing, to be able to share, hey, in our community, we're giving out these free COVID tests. In our community, those of you who are laid off, we've got food available. In our community, we have nursing school programs and nursing assistants. So we've got to begin to tell our story, not just broadcast our worship service, but talk about our ministry, which takes place after the benediction is over.
Wow, that's powerful. So let's talk about the Black church for a moment. Do you think that to some degree, the Black church, especially the historical Black Baptist churches and the AME congregations, that we're so, to some degree, conservative, that we really have fallen into this thing that we have to show humility and be humble? Being raised in a Black Baptist church, that's one thing I always heard, that not to be boastful and just to be humble. But I think we misunderstood that sermon. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, I think we can't confuse meekness for weakness. It's because I'm not out calling the paparazzi on myself. Don't mean that that I got to hide what it is that God is doing. The first song I learned as a kid in the children's choir, the Sunbeam Choir, was "This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Hide it under a bushel? No." So we got to let it shine. And so we've got to put on the high beam lights to say how necessary this is to put it out. Here is the distinctive difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. The Republicans know what their agenda is. They stand by it almost to a fault. Look at the surge in evangelical followers in that election cycle with Donald Trump. They said, hey, he holding the Bible upside down. He quoting 2 Corinthians. Can't remember his favorite scripture. But this is our guy because he's against same-sex marriages and against abortion. The problem is, I don't know what the Democratic Party's issues are. And I think that we've got to, Black people have never had the luxury of choosing one thing. We've never had the luxury of having one agenda. So imagine if today we saying, you know what, we're going to say voting rights is what we're going to deal with. Tomatoes are going to be coming in from Columbus, Ohio, saying, y'all forgot student loans. There's going to be a firing squad that's coming out saying, hey, don't do that, and you ain't going to discuss Black entrepreneurship.
Right.
Hey, you can't have this discussion and we not discuss the inequality of healthcare and why it is that Black people are dying at inequitable rates. So we don't have the luxury to choose. We've got to figure out what is our burden, and everybody do what they can in their particular and respective areas. That's why the NAACP and the Urban League have never been in competition, because the Urban League was always focused on the economic development, where it is that the NAACP focused in on civil rights. And I think that we got to know our lane, drive in it, because AAA tells us most accidents happen from people who didn't stay in their lane. So if you'll stay in your lane and do what you know how to do, I think that we'll be able to move forward.
So true. Like, okay, so let me get back to New Birth for a moment. New Birth is a major influence in the Atlanta area and beyond. Historically, the Black church has been instrumental in bringing about change. So what can we, here I have 3 questions with this. What can we do
Ask
better?
me one at a
What
time.
need-
Now, ask me one at a time.
come on, oh, I guess it's early. Okay.
No.
What
I
can
got
we
a
do
doctorate
better?
degree, but I also got a GED. So my GED is on me right now. So I need you to give I need you to give it to me. I need you to give it to me one at a time. What's
Okay,
the first question?
Okay, the first question is, okay, going back to that, historically, the Black church has been instrumental in bringing about change. So the first
Yes.
question is, what can we do better as a people?
You talking about the church?
The church, Black people, let's start with the church. What can the church do better?
I think that 92%, I need your followers to write this down. You're going to be the smartest person at work tomorrow. 92% of what Jesus did was outside of the church. In the 21st century, 92% of what the church does is in the building. The pandemic made the church get street cred to say, hey, y'all got to get outside of them stained glass windows. You got to put down that Mahalia Jackson fan. You got you got to stop selling chicken dinners and start giving out some chicken and really do the work of ministry. And so the pandemic made us integrate with the hood. And so it was a blessing for the church to be able to move forward. And I think that the church has to do that.
All right, so the second part of that, okay, I kind of really got what needs to change there. So the third question is, what are we missing? And I think, I sit back sometimes, I'm like, we're missing something. Are we missing unity between Black people? Are we missing collaboration between churches, partnerships? What are we missing?
We are missing the fact that we are the only people on the planet who have a messianic paradigm for leadership, to think that there has to be one. Can you imagine? I got to ask you, if I put a Uzi to your head with a silencer and I said to you, name for me, who is the leader of the Puerto Ricans? You can't tell me who it is. Who is the spokesperson for the LGBTQ community? We don't know who it is. We keep waiting for one. And I think that one of the things that we've got to do is equip people in various fields. The former paradigm in the 50s, the pastor know it. Well, now we got people in the pew who are equipped in accounting, equipped in marketing, equipped in the sciences, equipped in the health department. So pastor ain't got to do everything. We got to have other people who are able to move. It is interesting, and what a lot of people ignore. When Jesus called the 12 disciples, he didn't call one disciple who was a preacher. He didn't call one disciple who went to seminary. He called 12 people out of business. He said, I'm going to need a lawyer who can help me navigate. I'm going to need a doctor who is going to be able to verify these miracles. I'm going to need an accountant who's going to be able to help me make sure that my taxes are in line. So we got to move from one king chair to one round table where we bring people from various fields, various areas who are able to make some intellectual contribution from their field of expertise.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I want to jump out this chair, but I got to keep asking questions. So we have Sharif from Baltimore that says, how can grassroots organizations help?
Yes, grassroots organizations are really the lifeline. Keep your foot on the neck of the church. I tell everybody, Sharif, that the Black Panther Party succeeded because the Black church was failing. Look at what the Black Panther Party was doing. Feeding kids in the morning, walking seniors home, protecting the neighborhood, educating our people on our history, all the things the church should be doing. J. Edgar Hoover in 1970 said the most dangerous threat to Americans' civil liberties is the Black Panther Party. Now watch this. The Black Panther Party only had 300 members, and they were looked at as the singular most powerful threat in America, 300 members. And now we got mega churches and the FBI don't even know they exist. Why? Because we're not doing no equipping, no training, and no feeding.
Wow, that's powerful. Nicole is asking, has the pandemic changed the way we do church forever?
Forever. I'm an 80s baby. From the first time I saw your face, Girl, I knew I had to have you forever. Those of y'all who don't know that song, you ain't old enough. That's for us who had cassette tapes. Listen, that's Teddy Riley with Guy. It changed it forever because here it is. If it takes 30 days to create a habit, and we've been out of church for 22 months, your children are now grown. But think about when your children were babies and you had to get them dressed. You had to remember to pack a fruit roll up, a juice box, some little toy that wasn't going to be a distraction to the rest of the church. And for 22 months now, you've been able to feed them little Negroes pancakes and pajamas while listening to the pastor preach. Why are you now going to drive 20 minutes when you can now give online? You ain't got to put no makeup on. You wear a muumuu. You got pink fuzzy house slippers on, and you still waving your hands to God right there while your children are at the counter. And here's the great thing. I ain't got to be on time for church. I can watch it in the replay. This is the real reality. So listen, society changes every 4 years. Church society changes every 20. So the average church is 15 years behind schedule. Catch this, I'm getting ready to blow your minds this time. Most churches are proud of themselves because they're on Facebook. But the kids are on TikTok.
Right.
And I don't know no churches on TikTok. But that's, come on, pandemic, that's where the money resides. We got to figure out how can I get my choir on TikTok? How can I do my sermon in 1 minute to get that message out? That hour for just pontificating for 40 minutes and you quoting Shakespeare and all of that, that's out the door. We got to figure out how do I shrink wrap the gospel and get it out.
You're right. You're right. Dr. Carter says, and I want to get to Black Wall Street in a moment. Dr. Carter says you are spot on with how we can change the trajectory of our purpose in being and doing. Do we have a program or system that leaders can use to make this shift? It can be easier said than done for those who are challenged with execution.
Dr. Kim, Ed Koch, when he was the mayor of New York, would open up his press conference and said, we're going to try this. And if it don't work, we're going to try something else. Mm-hmm. This is the hour of creatives. There is no pastor alive. I got to give this to you. No pastor alive has ever pastored in a pandemic. There is no model. Yeah. Nobody knows what they're doing. I can't write the book, Dr. Kim, because I'm still in it. I thought I was going to be back in church Labor Day. And now we crossing our fingers, hoping I get in for Easter. So I can't print this book yet because I don't want to retract it. Because I don't know what this is looking like. And to be honest with you, I am, the name of the book is going to be Successful by Accident. Because I don't even know how it is that we're doing it. In this pandemic, Dr. Kim, we have given groceries to 800,000 families in 22 months. 800,000 families. And let me say to you, this wasn't in my vision statement. This wasn't the church, in the church constitution. This wasn't the burden that I had carried in Atlanta. This is what was birthed out of the crisis. In China, there is no word for crisis. The word is opportunity. Right. And so this is our opportunity for ministry. And so we just figuring it out. Sometimes we do it right. Sometimes we do it wrong. The key is that we just keep doing it.
Yeah, I love that. Kim Edmondson is asking, and I see all of y'all's questions, but there's no way we're going to get to all of these. She says, my pushback for the saints is that they're now too comfortable worshiping on the couch. When does the movement start?
The movement starts on the couch. Watch the stuff that we say. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. But y'all didn't mean that. Now y'all mad. In my house is where I do it. Church is supposed to be the after party. that when I get to church and where it is that I'm getting galvanized and move forward, I got to start that at home. I'm talking to married couples. This is gospel for grown people. If your husband, your wife only flirting with you at the restaurant, but ain't doing nothing at home, and then get home and then want to, let's get it on, you're like, wait a minute now, I've been here the whole time. You don't tell me you love me till Valentine's Day. It's got to start at home. It's got to start. That is the movement. We have been doing that. Too many of our church people have worshiped God in church, but never put it in practice at home.
Jesus.
The Muslims are beating the Christians upside the head. Why? Because we go church out of habit and Muslims do practice out of lifestyle.
Wow.
So we pray. Watch this. When we get to the church, got to get to the altar. The Muslims pray based off of what time it is. So if they driving, they're going to pop that trunk and pull out that prayer mat. And right there, we're going to do it. When we pray. Wednesday nights at 7:30. When can I get the pastor on? So I think that what it is, the movement begins at home, of how it is that the children see us model our faith, exercise our faith, how it is that they walk into their belief system is what it is that they get at home. Any teacher will tell you that the greatest learning doesn't happen in the classroom. It happens by how it is that they do it at home. 60% of what children learn is lost over the summer. So when they come back in August and September, they got to do remedial work. Because y'all let the kids play Xbox all summer. They didn't read one book all summer.
Jesus.
So at home is where the movement starts.
Yes.
At church is where we get direction for what we apply at home.
Amen. Amen. All right. I would love to keep you, but I have to get to this one question. Because it was unfortunate I wasn't able to stop by when I was coming back from Panama, leaving out of Atlanta to get back to Columbus during the holidays. But you have a passion of issues of justice in our nation. We understand that economic power
like
is
you
leverage.
went to Panama like it was Philadelphia while I was on my way back from Panama. But it's okay. We digress. Go ahead. Bad and bougie. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, see, that since my daughter lives there, that's where we met up to leave out from Panama for Christmas and back.
You going to Panama in the pandemic, but go ahead.
But let me tell you this. It was beautiful, though. It was beautiful.
We believe you.
We understand that economic power gives leverage to accomplish more than we can with other methods. So the Black Wall Street market, Atlanta market, is one expression of our collective potential. Can you please, I beg of you, to share your insights about how we can use this as a model for progress, not just in Atlanta, but in other cities and locations?
Yes, thank you so very much. Many people have put Dr. King's time capsule for one quote, "I have a dream." And they forget that Dr. King said this in a private conversation with Harry Belafonte. He says, "I am afraid we've integrated the Negro into a burning house. What was the point of us integrating a lunch counter if the Negro doesn't have money for a hamburger? That the next step after civil rights is silver rights." When Dr. King was killed, he was mobilizing the Poor People's Campaign. We really have to start doing a thrust around economic development. It took us 100 years, but on Black Friday here in Atlanta, we opened up the new Black Wall Street market. You remember that in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black people had found economic self-sufficiency. When they had done so, it is the very first time America bombed itself. They bombed the Black people in Oklahoma because they figured out how to do their own trade, how to do their own networking, how to create and curate their own business format. The average Asian American circulates their dollar 17 times before it falls into the hands of somebody else. The average Jewish person in America circulates their dollar 12 times. The average Caucasian 9 times. The average Black person who's watching me, 30 minutes within cashing your check, you give your money to somebody else. True economic development is supporting who it is that we are. So here in Atlanta, we've opened up the new Black Wall Street market, 100 Black businesses under one roof. And I'm challenging you all, wherever it is that you are, to please, sir, please, ma'am, put your money where your mouth is and support these Black businesses. I want to challenge even you all that you all would support this show, News in Motion. Black businesses, support it. Pay for lower thirds on this show. Ask her to hold up a mug with your business on it. We're the only ones who are gun shy about promoting our own businesses. And we've got to be able to do that.
Wow, thank you so much for that. It's interesting that you said that, because I wanted everyone to make sure they sow a seed into New Birth today. Everyone who's tuning in, please, please, please sow a seed. We'll put the link in the chat here on Facebook so that you can see it. Those of you who are listening by audio, we've been hearing from Pastor Jamal Bryant, who is just outstanding. Maybe he'll come back one day and we'll cut up some more. I don't know. People are dogging me in this chat. They're talking about how I slid in Panama on you. But no, we really do appreciate you. One thing that I do, Pastor Bryant, I'm putting you on the spot here. I normally end with the inspirational message, but I believe that you have a word today. 60 seconds. Give us something to hold on to throughout today and throughout this week. And before you do that, I want to remind everyone that the debate will begin today. This is not the vote for voting rights. As it looks right now, it does not look as if the numbers are going to be there, which means we will have more work to do. We have to get more people registered to vote. Do not wait until we get close to the primaries. We have to do that work right now. The filibuster, as you know, they would have to set it aside. They would have to get 60 votes. That's not there. They would have to move forward. They could do what they call a carve out. That doesn't seem to be there either. Some of you are probably saying, what is she talking about? Again, this is the education around voting and politics that every constituent needs to understand so that we know the moves that they're making. The Republicans are playing chess. We need to play chess as well. So with that, if you don't mind sharing with us an inspirational message, again, I cannot thank you enough for hanging out with me this morning and with the News in Motion family. We're going into our second year and we're very, very excited. And thank you so much for encouraging people to sow into News in Motion and to build and understand where our dollar is going. So if I can throw it back to you and you can just give us a word that will get us through today, I would greatly appreciate it.
I'm appreciative for the privilege. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share in a window to speak into the lives of your listeners. Early this morning in the Serengeti, the lion woke up. The lion woke up and took off running, knowing he had to find something to eat. Early this morning in the Serengeti, the gazelle got up and took off running, knowing that they could not afford to be eaten. In both instances, they took off running, one to eat, the other not to be eaten, at full speed. What am I telling you, News in Motion family? Take off running. Because if you don't run, you won't eat. And if you don't run, you will be eaten. So take off running. And whatever is your goal, whatever is your assignment, whatever is your call, whatever is your purpose, don't stop till you get that. 1984, 1988, we all ran and we shouted, "Run, Jesse, run." Early 1994, we went to the movies and started cheering with popcorn in our lap. Run, Forrest, run. Today, there's a great cloud of ancestors who are cheering for you. And the only thing they're saying is run, because you got to eat or you will be eaten. Have an incredible day.
Are you ready to raise awareness of your brand, product, or service? Gail, the host of News in Motion and Mimosa Friday podcast, is an influencer who brings attention to every product she mentions. She started out with a few followers and is growing her base daily. Listeners tune in Monday through Friday from around the U.S. and beyond. Let Gail help you expand and connect with new customers from all around. To get your brand, product, or services mentioned on her shows, just contact info.gaildudley@gmail.com to request her media deck. Catch Gail each weekday on News in Motion on Facebook Live at facebook.com/newsinmotion or her YouTube at youtube.com/GailDudley. You can also follow Gail on Instagram and Twitter at Gail Dudley and visit her website, www.gaildudley.com. Until next week, as Gail always signs off, stay well and remember to make some moves.